Even when it rains heavily, the subway in Korea doesn't stop, and power outages are hardly remembered. We usually say it like this: nothing happened. But was nothing really happening? In fact, it's the opposite. A lot was happening continuously in places we couldn't see. In this video today, we will calmly examine the structure of the system to understand why we did not feel any power outages or confusion. Many people remember that voltage changes are not the core issue. In the 70s and 80s, power outages were frequent, and after switching from 110 volts to 220 volts, the number of outages decreased. Of course, the efficiency of sending electricity as the voltage increases. However, it is insufficient. To explain the reason for the decrease in power outages solely by the change in voltage, whether a power outage occurs is influenced more by how the system is designed to respond when electricity is cut off than by how high the voltage used is. In other words, the key is not how strongly you send it, but how you handle it when it gets cut off. The real reason for the decrease in blackouts. The most significant change that reduced blackouts in the structure is not the number of power plants, but the structure of the power grid. The past power grid had a relatively simple structure. If a problem arises on one road, the entire road is affected. However, the current power grid is different. Electricity does not come through just one line. It has multiple paths. At the same time, in power engineering, this is referred to as multiplexing of the power grid. In simple terms, electricity does not flow. This means that there are several detours prepared in advance. So, if there is a problem in one section, instead of completely losing power, it redirects to another path. The system moves first. Here, an important question arises. How is it possible for such things to happen before people know? The reason is that this judgment is made automatically, not by a person. The power grid has devices that detect abnormal signals and a system that automatically controls electricity, operating at all times. This is professionally referred to as a protection relay system or monitoring and control system. It may sound complicated, but the meaning is simple. If there is an anomaly in voltage or current, the system responds before a person can assess the situation. So electricity doesn't just get cut off and then come back. It actually moves through a different path before it gets cut off. The meaning of there was a power outage, but I have no memory of it shows that today's power outages appear differently than we think. In reality, very brief anomalies occur, but the system processes them immediately, so people often do not notice. In the power sector, this phenomenon is referred to as a momentary blackout. It is a blackout that is recorded, but not felt literally. So even though there is a record of the blackout in the statistics, people tilt their heads and ask, was there a blackout? It's not that blackouts have disappeared, but rather that they have become a managed phenomenon. What role does the diversity of power sources play? This is another area that is often misunderstood. Because there are various power plants, such as nuclear, thermal, hydro, wind, and solar, it's easy to think that there are no blackouts. Of course, it's important that the power sources are diverse. This is because they play a role in continuously generating electricity reliably. However, the structure that distributes electricity plays a more direct role in preventing the power plants do. To put it simply, it's like this. The power plant is a reservoir that provides water, and the power grid is the pipeline that delivers that water to each home. Even if there are many reservoirs, if the pipeline is blocked, water won't reach the houses. The key to determining whether there is a power outage is this water pipe, that is the power grid. Why must the system be quiet? To be strong? A strong system does not stand out. If a person has to step in to solve a problem, it means that the system is already responding too late. A truly strong system quietly absorbs issues before they escalate. So we feel like nothing happened. But behind the scenes, the system is doing its job. Conclusion: the key sentence is that If we felt nothing, that means the system has
Its
fulfilled. The absence of inconvenience is not a coincidence. It is the result of design. This channel aims to calmly explain this structure rather than provoke emotions. The story of a quietly strong nation continues.